Hello and welcome. It's a brand new day. The hail just finally stopped, and it's time to go ahead and put some other farmhouses together. So, past few episodes, we put together the Little Farms. Since then, I was playing some on my own personal, just have fun save, and ended up putting together an extended ramen shack in one of my ships because I was doing a space start and all I had found was veggies and grain. So made it easy to stick that on top and then stick some solar panels around it as kind of like the top of a ship or station type thing. So 10 out of 10 would ramen ship again. Um, Other than that, last episode we did the um, crop circle and we did the garden tunnel. If we were to kind of peek in through the windows, you can see I just recently harvested everything and replanted. Um, but I have a couple more ideas for things that I want to try testing out. So let's go ahead and start right over here at the piston farm. So the piston farm is one of the more obvious ideas. And in effect, the idea here is that I want to have a walkway right here, and then I want to have a piston that goes out over the top. Nice and simple. And I just realized I should probably push this back one. Nope. I'm going to work around it. Alright, so for this then, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and since this is more about like being a test, I'm just going to go ahead and do a single piston, though it is very easy to take one of these and loop or stick a couple pistons together to extend it. So let's go ahead and start by laying out the basis. So let's make it nice and easy. I'm going to go ahead and do some light armor blocks. So this one is not going to have anything on it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be the end. And then I'm going to go ahead and put one more on just for good measure. And then so weld that up really quick. And then down here at the end, let's go ahead and stick on some half blocks. Alright, so I am going to need... Okay, hang on a second here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the end piece. You know what? Let's make this look mildly cooler. Actually, no, I still need the full one here. And then here, what was I gonna do here? Oh yes, I can put something like this in. Alright, so this is the level of the piston, and then I want to come up one more, like this. Okay. If I do this, I want to come up. Wait, hang on. So piston, and then I've got a hinge that's going to tilt downwards. And that's going to cover this. So let's go ahead, actually go full height here. And then I can do this. And just have half height on the way back. Then There we go. So this will be my shell. Alright. And then I want to go ahead and let's stick one more up here. You know, for luck. And let's stick a piston on right here. And let's go with the square piston because it looks cool. And then I'm going to stick a hinge on the end of that. Actually, do I even need a hinge? I can just kind of... No, I don't need a hinge. I can just go ahead and stick a T on. I think. And we'll see if the height works out. Alright. So over here, I need to keep, what's called air tightness. So let's go ahead and do 1, 2, 3. And then from here, I don't need air tightness, so I can go ahead and use these. And let's go ahead. Fine, I'll grab my other coal in a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so these two will be curves. And so will this one. Alright, and then and I'm going to need to break this because that's going to end up working out differently. Alright. And I want this piece here. And now I can come back to grab these half blocks. Alright, let's just weld all this up nice and quick. And then we will lay out the farm. And let me just... Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, just like the last time, I am going ahead and using the what's it called? The conveyor T-pipes to signify where, or just to make it easier to see where I'm actually going ahead and placing the farm plots. But you are welcome to use literally whatever one you want. Alright, so now that I've kind of laid this out, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and quickly weld this up and be right back. All right, and we are back. So, as we can see, I've gone ahead and finished the greenhouse. It is not currently sealed because I have these and connection to the voxel. So now it's time to go ahead and put the farms in. So let's go ahead. No, wrong button. All right, let's grab our farms. And just weld those up. And then grab some more farms. So, taking a look at this, you can see that I've got this situated for 24 farms, which is more than sufficient for a single person. Um, but the idea is basically I want to press a button and then have it auto harvest, but I will still need to auto plant or manually plant. Sorry, not auto plant. I was thinking auto plant because, and now you can see it is airtight. So with this particular setup, I did some thinking and realized I do actually need the hinge because I want to switch from large grid to small grid when I push across, because small grid collectors are just easier to manage. So I'm going to need to go in and I'm going to need to add the hinge head, and I can use whatever size, and then just angle that down, or I can have it angled down and put the collectors across when I want to collect, and just like maybe stick a timer block in a corner or something like that. Um, and that would allow me to go ahead and basically say, push the button, it's going to come down, harvest, and then automatically return, all based off of it's probably going to be two timer blocks. That or a timer block and an event controller. Yeah, actually, timer block and an event controller would do it. So we'll do that. So all the farms are set up. Now all that we have to do is manage that piston head. So let's come on in here. Recharge. These inset refill stations are great when you don't want to do medical stuff. So I want to find my hinge, and I'm going to name this BF hinge. And then I want to add, um, let's go with a medium head. So you can see I've got the medium head there, and just weld that up really quick. All right. So in this position, it's going to basically um, be pushed out horizontally. So what I want to do is I want to rotate it down vertically to get an idea of the height, and then I will start putting collectors and conveyors on. So let's go ahead and I don't want reinforced. I want no conveyor junction, small grid. There we go. I want a conveyor converter. And then I'm going to want to grab a whole bunch of small conveyor tubes. And then I want to add my collectors. And I want to have 6 collectors. So if you were to go ahead and set yourself up for auto, um, what's it called? Automatic planting with the planting mod, then a setup like this would also work great because you're just pushing it across, and you can just put the ejector right next to the collector. All right, so let's go ahead now. One button, and I want to add a conveyor converter, and we'll just put that in there. And let's go ahead and rotate that hinge head down. And that is up. Okay, so I want the reverse. There we go. And then let's come on over to this. And you can see I cannot place it right there, so I will need to go ahead and place it down here, because that's just interfering with that. So let's go ahead and be a little silly, stick a T-junction there. I definitely do not need one there, but you know, it amuses me. And then 1, 2, and now let's go ahead and grab that collector. And that's probably about the right height. Again, probably about the right height. And more or less centered. So that's that side. And then we just repeat on this side. And if you're wondering, after looking at this, what the measurements are, 5 of these small blocks is the equivalent width of 1 large one. And these collectors are 3x3s, so 3 plus 1 on each side, and you've got the width. So fairly simple. And then we can just go ahead and just pipe all this up. There we go. So now, let me fiddle with my lighting a little bit. So I want these 2 lights, and then these corner lights. Increase the radius to, say, 12.5. And get a yellowish color and lower that intensity some. There we go. There. Now everything's nice and well lit. Alright, so as I said, I can go ahead and trigger this all with a timer and an event controller. So let's go ahead and do that. I can also go ahead and stick them both small block on here. So that means I'm not taking up anywhere near as much space. That's 1. And let's use the automaton one because it looks cooler. Alright, and then lastly, I'm going to need a button panel. Or really, I just need a single button. And I will place that right here. Alright, so now it's a matter of going ahead and setting things up. So what I want the hang on a second here. Let's add a second event controller just for good measure. Because thinking about it, and might be slightly easier to do it this way. Alright, so how am I going to go ahead and set this up? Let me go ahead and find my timer block. And what I'm going to do is drop the delay down to 1. And then I'm going to also name this the piston harvester timer block start. So then I want to find my piston. And then my hinge, which I've already named. So let's actually go ahead and do the PF. And now I can just search for PF. There we go. So I've got timer block, hinge, piston. I'll just rename that piston. And then I need my event controllers. And then let's go ahead and search for PF. All right. So I've got timer block start, event controller max extension, event controller returned. So timer block start, I'm going to go ahead and set up my actions. And now I want to search for PF. And I want the hinge to go ahead and rotate to angle -90 with a speed of, say, 5. Then I want the piston to go ahead, set and move all the way to 10 with a speed of, say, 0.5. Yeah, let's do 0.5. And basically all I'm doing with the timer block is just putting this all in one place so I can just press a single button and have it go. Then I'm going to come to the max extension and I want to go ahead and find piston position, threshold 100%. Let's do 99% just in case. And then I'm going to, again, search for PF. And then here I want to go ahead and do set and move to 0 at a speed of 0.5. And that's all that this is doing. And then I'm going to use the returned one, And I'm going to find, oops, sorry, I need to do one more thing with this. I need to choose my piston. There we go. PF piston. And then I need to come in here and again find my piston. And then I want to set the threshold to be like 1-ish%. Doesn't really matter exactly. Add blocks. And then I'm going to select the actions for PF, and I want the hinge to, where is it? Set and rotate to angle 0 at a speed of 5. And then when I come in here, I can now find PF, the timer block, and trigger now. So, that didn't work. Alright, what did I do wrong? Let's see, returned. Oh, I need less than or equal to. And then max extension equal to or greater than. Select actions. Let's go ahead and I see. Went too far. Alright, let's go ahead and find my piston. And I'm going to reverse it. So what just happened there is because it was upright, it pushed into the wall and it couldn't go far enough. Oh, thank you. Remind me to eat my kelp crisps. Never mind that, I'm farming real food now. Alright, so let's try this again. Trigger now. Alright, it rotates down. It's probably going to miss that first row. But it is going to come all the way on down here. And let's go ahead and change that max extension to like 9-ish. I want start, setup actions, and I want set and move to, let's go ahead and do it 8.5 actually, at a speed of 0.5. There we go. Alright, and it did rotate back up. And now I need to go ahead and do that. So 8.5 is gonna be about like 85%. So let's go ahead and change this to 82. 82. There we go. Alright, it goes down. It's gonna skip that first row. I could use another timer block and just say, like, or another event control, and when that gets down to 90, then push it out. Actually, I think I might be able to get away with just an event controller. So if I come in here now, change this to hinge down, less than or equal to, let's find a hinge. Nope, not piston position. Angle change, there we go. Less than and negative 85. And let's go ahead and grab the PF hinge. Then I can go ahead and select my actions, PF piston, set and move, and honestly I can just set this to 10 at a speed of 0.5. It's not going to matter because I'm going to have this at 85, and that's going to trigger, and then I can go ahead and do rotate angle to negative 90 at a speed of 5, and there we go. So it rotates down, comes all the way down. The event controller figures that it's all the way down. That triggers the piston to push forward. The piston checks that it's far enough out. Yeah, 85 is definitely farther than it needs to go, but you know, we're all good. And then it comes all the way back. Alrighty, so that is all set up with a single push of a button. So let's come on in here now to my seed packs. Oh, let me find some seeds. And let's search for seeds. And you know what? Let's just do 6 of each. All right. Then if I just come on in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's do green next. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And mushrooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then veggies. So, not too painful to go ahead and plant everything, but again, if you wanted to automate that, you're going to need to download a mod for it. But that is this, and now all that's left to do is wait for everything to grow, and then we will come back and push the button. Alrighty, so as far as other things, I have actually spent enough time that I harvested everything. I will say the crop circle has definitely been winning me over as far as ease of use, because I just plant it and then I don't even have to worry about coming back to it. It's done. I can just come back whenever I'm ready for the next planting. Alrighty, let's go ahead now and see if we can make another one really quick. So, yeah, let's go with the ceiling drop. So the ceiling drop is very similar to the rotor farm, except for, or the piston farm, I should say, except for instead of having it rotate down and then push out, which does mean that you have to have the space for the piston there, we are going much more vertical, and we're going to have a piston come down. Basically, it's going to come down far enough to go ahead and collect, and then it's going to reverse and go back up. So give me just a minute to go ahead and look things up and put what I need together, and I will be right back. All right, so I've moved a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is there's kind of two ways that you can build this. Option one is to go ahead and basically have the piston coming up out of the center. So the center tile is going to be unusable for the farm, but it means that you are pushing up and you can have all of your piping down to the bottom. Option two would be to have the piston in the ceiling coming down, which would work better if you were like shifting on over to small grid, but I want to go ahead and make this a large grid one, so yeah. So let's go ahead and lay this out. So I want to come here and actually, let's change this up. Let's go to this, and I want to grab a T. Yep, okay. So 1, 2, and yeah, I'm going to do a 5 by 5. So that means actually I only need to do this. All right. So this will be where my farm plots come. Let me turn my light on. And then I want a perimeter on the outside to walk. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Can just go ahead and weld this up really quick. All right, and then let's go ahead and just shove all those pieces back in, and then once again I'm going to use these pipes to make it really obvious what's going on. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I will have to come back for more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait. I am going to need to swap this one on over to a conveyor junction. Otherwise, it's not going to be airtight. Alright, let's weld this up. And again, this is not because you need to use the pipes, but again, just to make it really obvious what's going on. And then and I'm going to need one more after that. So let me... There we go. There we go. All right. So let me go ahead and go away really quick to put a shell around this, and then we will be back in just a minute. All right, and we are back. I have not put the roof on yet because I'm not entirely sure how tall I need it, but I can just kind of keep extending up until I've got it there. So let's go ahead and put in our farms. So on this particular one, I'm going to do 10 farms. Sorry, 24 farms. Actually, I don't need a... Missed one. Let me run on over, get everything out of the build planner, roll it up some more. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. There we go. All right. All right, so there we go. 20 farms, and because you can kind of reach two in, you'll easily be able to go ahead and grab whatever you need. Now, the question is, what do you want to stick in the center? Now, my original thought had been to go ahead and stick in a large piston, because I can basically stick it in just like this. However, then I need to basically branch off the sides, and it's going to have to be large grid, and make sure that I can come down low enough to properly grab things. Alternatively, I can go ahead and I can stick in an advanced rotor, take off the head, and then I can go ahead and replace that with a small grid head, and then I can use small grid pistons. You know what? I feel like being ridiculous. Let's stick to large grid. And now we will see why sticking to large grid is probably not the best idea. But, you know, it'll be funny. Alright, so I need to grab that. Alright, so now that that is welded up, I need now to go ahead and grab a conveyor junction. Actually, I can once again make use of the pipes. So let's go ahead and put a pipe here. Why? Because it's funnier this way. That's why. Alright, and now I'm going to need to go ahead and come across with two more pipes like that, I think. One, two. 3, 4. Alright, so let's go ahead and come off this. So I'm going to come across like this, and then I can pipe down like this. Now let's be 100% clear here. The smarter idea is definitely to go ahead and do this with switching to small grid first, but nobody ever said that I had to be practical all the time. Alright, and alright, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I also need to come on over here to my recharge station.
Energy critical.
And as you can see, the mushrooms are ready for harvest. Alright, and then I need to grab that. Okay. Now, if I come in here and grab these collectors again, oh, I guess I need the steel plates to build them. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. The big question is whether or not this actually comes low enough as is to harvest. And I think the answer to that is no. So that means that I need to go ahead and take all. Ow! Darn ice. Alright, so let's go ahead and raise this up. And let's call the minimum distance this. Okay. And then let me run away from my hail. And grab a whole bunch of straight pipes. Alright, 18 is too short, but you know, we can all make short jokes sometimes. 6, 7, 8, 9. Ow! And turns out I can't count, so we'll be more than 2 short. Ah, come on. Oh, for the love of... There we go. And now I can go ahead and put those collectors on. All right. Unable to place the collector there. If I rotate it, that's funny. And, you know, guaranteed not to clang. Totally. Yes, it was definitely the right choice to go ahead and swap to small grid for this, but I was just too amused by the idea of doing it all large grid. So that is the entirety of the logic in this position. All right, if I can navigate the door. All right, so we can see that if we have the piston at the minimum distance of 1 meter, I guarantee you that it will collect. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ow. Ice. So now we need to go in and set a maximum distance. And let me stand in my little hallway to not get hit by more ice. Alright, and let's go ahead and find... And what did I call this place? Ceiling drop. So I'm going to call this CD piston. Okay, so let me come into CD, and I'm going to go ahead and set a max distance of, say, 3 meters. Can I jump up on top? Yeah, but let's go ahead and make that max distance 3.5. Alright, there we go. Now I can easily jump up on top, grab whatever I need, and then drop the ceiling when it's time to harvest. So, knowing that, let's go ahead and grab a whole bunch of steel. That explains a lot. Ow! Can we please stop? One, two, three. Oh, I am almost out of hydrogen. Need to swap my bottles out. Oh, one piece of amusement here is you can note that I am actually able to come into this space because this is a separate grid. So, that does mean that I technically could be coming in on this side as well. Except for I can't do it. Well, actually, I could do it down there too. But that's going to make it harder to navigate the outside. So, as amusing as it would be to have the slightly narrower, I can speak, I swear. Alright, and now if I were to do this, aha! Oh, need to swap these ones. Now I probably should go ahead and have some sort of lighting down there, but the farm plots produce enough light on their own, right? All right, let's come on in here to my refill station. Oh, and hey, let's test. Aha! Perfect. All right, so automation works. And yeah, this is a far more economical solution than that one is, but I'm amused. So, always go with what amuses you the most. All right, and then I want these ones. And then I need to finish these corners as well. All right, time to weld. So I will be back once this is all welded up because nobody needs to watch that. All right. Um, is this practical? No, not in any way, shape, or form. Is it funny? Yeah. Yeah. Definitely should have gone ahead and if I was thinking about practicality, done it with a small grid. But at the same time, when you come in and you see this, you just can't help but be at least mildly amused. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I put in a button, single button panel here, and then I have an event controller that I went ahead and shoved in that corner there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rig it up so that way the button drops it to 1 meter. Um, 1 second, let me prove that it is airtight, despite the fact that you can see the grass through there. Yeah, so I'm going to have the button drop it to the 1 meter position. The event controller will detect that, and then it will reverse it back to the 3.5 meter position. So let's come on over here to this. And what did I do? I did CD. Event controller collected. Alright, so I want to go ahead and change it to piston position less than or equal to 11% for CD piston. And then I want to select actions, CD piston, when true, set and move to 3.5 at a speed of 0.5. Cool. Then I'm going to come on in here, select this to CD piston, set and move to 1 at a speed of 0.5. Okay, and let me just double check. CD piston. It is set here with a maximum and a minimum distance, so it shouldn't clang out too much, but let's find out. Whee! Okay, I want to change that to let's change that to 8. Swap this to 0.75. And then set and move to 0.75. Set and move to 0.75 at a speed of 0.5. Make sure that that doesn't go too low. Perfect. Alright, do I have any seed packs on me? No. Let's go grab some mushrooms. And alright. So now let's just plant some mushrooms. Come on. There we go. There we go. And now we can come back in 12 minutes to make sure that that works. Alright, let's grab that. Oh, this episode has already gone a little long, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of work off screen and come back when those mushrooms are ready to harvest, and then we will call it there. So I will be back in just a minute. All right, the mushrooms are all ready. You can see growth 100%. Unknown signals coming in. So now, press the button. Dun dun dun. Clearly, it does not need to go that low, but we do it for amusement's sake. Alrighty, so this clearly works. Is it the best way to do it? Definitely not. If I were to go ahead and just swap this out for an advanced rotor, I could go ahead and put a piston on top of that. But then that's very, very similar to just like doing the crop circle. So why would you do this with small grid when you could just do the crop circle and use a lot less parts? But you know, it amused me. Uh, the other way to do the other things about this one is you could have the piston in the ceiling instead, which would be great if like you are doing a cliff base or an underground base or something like that, and you can just have the whole ceiling fall on somebody's head, because that's always amusing when that happens. Um, Doubles as farm and shaft. Woohoo! Um, no, I will not be stepping onto this to test to see if it kills me when it drops down. Um, you can do that on your own time. But uh, yeah, so the other thing though is that Weld Lights is set up for kind of like 24 plots. The only limitations for this really is how much can the piston carry, and does it list the weight? Info, static grid, 167. No, this is going to be the whole everything. And yeah. Yeah, so this is the entire base, so it's not going to be just this, but you could easily go ahead and expand this out to be like 15 by 15 or something silly large like that, which again is great for those underground bases. If you just want to go ahead and have like the ceiling drop effect, but practicality wise, this is not the way to do things. Definitely use small grid collectors, not large grid ones, because it takes a lot less space, and yeah. But that's going to be it for today. If you watched all the way in, thank you very much. I've got 2 more farms that I want to put together, so that's probably going to be the next episode if I can get them both in. And otherwise, I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.